Welcome to the Leader Impact Podcast. We are a community of leaders with a network in over 350 cities around the world, dedicated to optimizing our personal, professional, and spiritual lives to have impact. This show is where we have a chance to listen and engage with leaders who are living this out. We love talking with leaders, so if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions to make the show even better, please let us know. The best way to stay connected in Canada is through our newsletter at leaderimpact.ca or on social at LeaderImpact. If you're listening from outside of Canada, check out our website at leaderimpact.com. I'm your host, Lisa Peters, and our guests today are Toshe and Jesse Temelkoff.
Perfect.
Toshe is a concert. Thank you. That was a tough one. Toshe is a concert pianist and has performed broadly across Europe and the US. These days, he combines speaking into his program to complement Leader Impact events. Jesse, originally from the United States, is a writer, an artist, and loves her garden. In 2017, Toshe and Jesse founded Leader Impact in North Macedonia, and today they serve as strategists on the Global Field Strategies team. Here they represent Europe as regional leaders for Leader Impact Europe. Along with their leadership group, they facilitate the growth and expansion and process across the continent. And to support this role, Toshe has a seat in the European Leaders Community of Agape, Europe. They consider it a great joy to be part of the developing leaders' journey in Macedonia and believe in investing deep in this process and seeing leaders break through barriers, experiencing transformation and incredible impact along the way. Toshe and Jesse have been married for 18 years and are parents to 5 kids, ages 15 down to 6, 4 boys and a girl. They home educate their kids, enjoy mountain skiing and hiking adventures in their beautiful Macedonia. Welcome to the show, Toshe and Jesse. It is great to see you.
Thanks for that great introduction.
Thank you, Lisa. It's great to be with you.
That's a little too much.
Well, it's funny. It's not too much. It is fantastic. And it is wonderful to meet you. It's sometimes the phonetics I get stuck on.
Oh, you did great.
So
you did great.
Thank you. And I had to laugh that you said that because I'm like, I know I write it phonetically and am I getting it right? So how is the weather in Macedonia?
It's not the best right now, although we have the mountains and the mountains have snow. And so
we're expecting the ski season to open up here.
Looking forward to some good skiing.
Yeah, it's minus 22 degrees Celsius here and we have no mountains, there's no fun. So it's just cold. Yeah. So I am excited to talk with you today because of the whole global leadership. The world has opened up to dealing with different countries and dealing with different people. And I think to be an effective global leader or to lead multicultural teams, you have to be ready for the challenges, and it's positive. So I am excited to talk to you about the differences. I think, you are the people to talk to in Macedonia. So Toshe, I would love to start with you and ask you, describing the Macedonian culture and how leaders are perceived there.
Yeah, Macedonian culture is very laid back. I did analysis because I'm an expert. We should have added that in our CV or introduction. I'm an expert in emotional intelligence.
Okay.
I've taught and back in the day, I was actually interested in the upgrade, which is social intelligence, to understand cultures and their background and their history. So I've analyzed our culture a lot, and it's phlegmatic. It's very laid back, very calm. We don't want any fights with anyone. We like to be friends. We're very loyal. And so when it comes to leadership, I go straight to that aspect. The leader has to know a lot of people and has to be able to drink a lot of coffees throughout the day because we're a coffee culture. I don't know about Canada. But you go out in the middle of the day, every single day, Monday to Friday, or Monday to Sunday, all the cafes in downtown Skopje, our capital, are full of people, and they're at work. That's where they work. And so as a leader, you need to know how to navigate that and how to schedule your coffees, how to build relationships, and who are you going to meet with? What's your topic going to be? Or is it just going to be a laid-back conversation? And let them initiate. So again, as a leader, seeing the things through the people that you lead, through their eyes and experiencing what they're experiencing is the best way. There's still a little bit of leftover, even in my experience leading leaders. There's still a little bit of leftover of socialism. Now, you hear me say socialism, but not communism, because in Macedonia, we did not like the word communist or communism. We had a socialist republic back in the day under Tito, and we loved that time. And so we still have a little bit of remnants from that style of leadership where you just want the best for everyone and everyone loves you. And then eventually people will get tired of you and they will want to kind of replace you for someone else. But not a lot of team leadership, not a lot of shared leadership. When someone is up on top, it's interesting how they just want to get as far away as possible from the next level of people that they lead, and they have so much decision making alone, all by themselves, and they don't even discuss it with anyone. And so we still have to deal with that. Again, not ideal, but that's how it is.
Interesting that you talked about they'll go for coffee Monday to Sunday. Coffee shops are always full. I find that because right now it is 8:00 for you at night and it is in the middle of the afternoon. And when I scheduled this, my mind was make it best for you, your working hours. But now listening to you, it's like, it's 8:00 at night for you. You guys just work. I would love to have a conversation on balance.
No problem for us working at night. That's another aspect of our culture. We're a very night culture. So when it comes to, I'll give an example, putting kids to bed. No kids of Macedonian parents go to bed before 10:00. And so they can even push farther into 11. Even our kids have pushed even farther. But again, the coffees can go late in the night. Right now, downtown is full of people. Yeah.
Well, the Canadians are so nice. We want to accommodate. So, it's funny.
It's perfect.
It'll work out. Yeah, thank you. Jesse, I would like to ask you, you grew up in the United States. Do you see any differences? I mean, I'm seeing it, I'm a Canadian, but do you see any differences in what female leadership looks like in the US versus Macedonia?
Okay, so as I approach, Lisa, this question, I have to frame it a little bit. I have to give a little bit of context because, as you can imagine, I have received some form of this question of what are the differences, which often leads to the next question of, well, which is better over the years. And so I tread very honestly, but I also tread with a high dose of honor and respect in the way that I approach this topic of of differences. I'm almost to the point where I've lived half of my life in the US and half of my life here in North Macedonia. And so I carry just really high respect for both. And what I tend to do, my approach as I observe differences or note differences, so seeing is a theme. Seeing and noting is a theme for me. But what I really try to do is kind of create this third category of taking the best and seeing the best, finding the best, and create this third category of let me see how I can be influenced by the best of both cultures. And then in our role, it goes beyond. But with that framing, I can say that I do see probably a lot of more openness to teamwork and approach in female leadership in the US. Lots of innovation on both sides. Creativity, probably I see a lot of creativity in female leaders that I've observed in the US. Servant heart, prepared to just enter in and work hard. And then on the Macedonian side, some wonderful qualities. I have to say that I don't know. So you heard I'm a mom of 5. I don't know any other mother who's not a working mom in Macedonia. So these women just, they're very professional. They are prepared. They're ready. They are on top of it. And very highly qualified women. So yeah, I'm getting the best of both worlds and getting to be touched, to have all of that touch me. Yeah.
That's a great, and it's a great answer. I think honoring and respecting both. I mean, you're in a position, you are a global leader, And I'm sure, and I want to talk about it later, but just there's so many cultures around you and so many different countries. So I appreciate that, just honoring, respecting both, and highlighting that you're going to make a third. You're going to take the best of everyone. I really love that. Toshe, back to you. I want to talk a little bit about challenges and strategies. What type of leaders are respected in your culture, and how do they compare to the highest calling in leadership, which is serving?
That's a great question. When it comes to having knowledge in all areas of life is very important for a Macedonian leader, and to be involved in a lot of activity, very active, and I would say verbally, the people that have a way with words, that know how to manage a situation and enter into some kind of difficult situation, and figure out how to control their words and manage those types of troubles, I would say, that come, are typically respected the most. And we, opposing to other cultures, we do not respect a lot of speaking qualities. For example, if someone has this amazing public appearance and they're a great speaker, in the past, it's funny, we've had several leaders that had a speech impediment. And that doesn't bother any of the Macedonians, because those leaders have shown qualities in other ways. They don't have to be amazing speakers. They don't have to look great, but they're good with people. They manage that very well. But when it comes to servant leadership, the highest calling that we all have as leaders, it's funny that as leaders go up in the chain and in their company or even in politics, I notice more and more loneliness, and more I want to sit in my desk and just give orders and kind of enjoy life from, like I said, move as far away as possible from that next level of people. So I would say there is a need. There is a need here to even be an example of that kind of a leader. And so Jesse and I really try to be an example, because a lot of times we host, a lot of times we help, a lot of times the people that are next level under us, they know everything about our lives. We're not, as we walk through challenges, we share. When we're broken, they know. And when we struggle, we ask for their help and all that. And so, yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to do that here.
So what I'm hearing is the leaders, the higher leaders that are creating this space.
Exactly.
They don't want to come out of their offices. They're creating their loneliness. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the culture.
That's the culture. How is their mental health? Because I know in Leader Impact, right, we come together because it is lonely. We come together because we're in our offices and we want to come together. So
yeah, we have a lot of experience in finding people that are in need. And again, Leader Impact in Macedonia has existed for 7 years, and we've seen hundreds of leaders join and just talk about Leader Impact as their one and only place where nobody's judging them, nobody's asking anything from them. This is a time where business can be put aside, and we're just talking about life. And so it's good stuff.
Great. Thank you, Toshe. Jesse, I want to ask you about unique challenges you face as a female leader in Macedonia.
Okay. Well, Lisa, I can outline my greatest challenge pretty easily, and I would name that as being relevant, actually. And now we go back to the differences topic. I can't get away from being different, even though I've lived almost half of my life here. Even just turning from the point of our family size. Family sizes are pretty small in Macedonia, so when our family walks out the door, we are we all eyes are on us, and have a cultural guide. My colleague Anna, she has told me along the way that there's kind of this trend, this maybe it's unspoken. I think it's mostly unspoken, but that it's not looked upon well to stand out. And so, but like I said, I can't get away from standing out. So I have to, filter all these cultural cues. And I'm looking then at the lens of the women that I interact with, and I interact with standout women all of the time. Mm-hmm. And so then considering their pathway to filtering through this message of, don't stand out, and how they put all things into perspective. And then for me, putting things into perspective in our line of work, working with Leader Impact, I think, okay, if the eyes on me means that, that first impression of being different and interesting, then gets me to the second meeting and the third meeting, and then helps me to get to the place where I think I can be relevant. And the relevance comes when, I can approach another female leader with curiosity as a learner, being, just being ready to invest in that relationship. Then this is how I push through my greatest challenge of being relevant.
Yeah. You're really breaking a barrier as a leader. And because if being different is looked upon as, you don't want to stand out, you have to break that. And I don't want to be any smaller. Like, I want to sparkle, right? Like in Canada, I'm a very tall woman, so I walk into a room as well, I stand out. But 5 kids, someone's going, oh, you got 5 kids. I'm just going to say out loud, oh, you've got 5 kids. How could you be a leader? You better stay home, or, right? Or a woman that is always looking great. Well, you spend way too much time. Like, we're just judging.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe I'm wrong. Like, I just hear you saying, it's not good. And we have to break those barriers.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, being a person who is sensitive to the cultural cues around me, I have sensed that again, it's all about framing. So I've just chosen to embrace it, that if that gets me through the door, or that, sets the stage for me to get where I want, then I'm going to look upon it as an opportunity. And, I also like to sparkle.
You keep sparkling.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Well, this one comes back to you, Jesse. I'm wondering, just talking about our regional leadership, and how do you approach growing the Leader Impact movement with members from diverse cultural backgrounds? You have language barriers, you have varied economic status, like it's all around you. Yeah. How do you approach growing that?
Lisa, for the question. Love this one. Love all of them. So my first kind of encouragement or practice is to stay fascinated. I think I am amazed that we get to be in this position. I'm full of wonder that we get to relate to people of so many different cultures, that we get to rub shoulders, be sharpened, by each other, that we get to encounter all these people full of passion that we get to share a common goal and move forward with. I was remembering a conversation that I was having with a colleague from Armenia a couple of years ago, and it was over a casual dinner, and he was telling me all about his country. And it reminded me, it took me back 20 years ago of when I first came to Macedonia. And I definitely went through a honeymoon stage where I was fascinated by everything. But over time and with challenges, I have realized it's all about the lens through which you see things. And so seeing these challenges of working with many countries, from people with different languages, size of their nations, and varied economic status, that keep coming back to how I see things as very critical. And I did want to kind of give a personal journey type of example. When we entered into this role a few years ago, our organization had just gone through a huge reorg. And we, at the time, leading up to that time, we were two regions within Europe, Eastern and Central Europe and Western Europe. And we quickly realized that there was a different culture within our own organization within these two regions. And when we merged and we became all one Europe, which we stepped in and inherited all of Europe. We're the first regional leaders that have all of Europe as our scope for Leader Impact. And so we came in where we had mostly Leader Impact in the Eastern and Central side of Europe was more developed. And then coming to the big task of how does Eastern and Central influence Western, more developed countries, and we weren't even all branded the same under Leader Impact. So these were just huge challenges that we needed to face right out of the get-go, and a lot of them we are still tackling today. But a lot of trial and error, a lot of finding the right people to have around us to partner, and really seeing our people as our greatest asset. Getting to know where their unique gifts are. These are all part of that journey.
Yeah. Well, we will continue to stay fascinated. We will continue to ask questions, Yeah. I love that. All right. Thank you, Jesse. To you, Toshe, you helped start Leader Impact, the movement in your country that grew to the point where you could delegate leadership and entrust the movement to a very successful couple. What have you learned through that process?
That's a great question when it comes to how does a leader grow when they're leading and as they're leading. Again, anything that I do, I try to find a topic, something that I can focus on that I'm not so great at, that I can kind of get better. And so one of those, again, I'm Macedonian, I come from this culture, and delegating is not one of those things that comes naturally to me. I would like to do it all by myself. And if someone does it, I don't like it how they've done it. And I'll do it again and repeat and correct. And so through this process, I actually had several people. So again, being surrounded by leaders who have freedom to speak into your life and to remind you of what is good and what is not so great about what you're doing. And so I had several people remind me that delegation is a huge part of leadership and that I'm not doing well in it. And so when it comes to having people around me, sure, yeah, I'll have a team, I'll have several people, but then again, ask them, how much did you have in that decision that you as a team did, or when you give an idea in the team, does Toshe kind of shut it down and he takes over and puts his idea? Yeah, a lot of times that was my reality, and I admit it was not something that I'm proud of. But eventually, I got the courage and I started entrusting a lot of things without having a lot of say in it. And the biggest proof actually for that is in Macedonia, we still celebrate Christmas on January 7th. So we're following this old calendar, the Gregorian calendar. And but we as a family, we celebrate Christmas both on 25th and on December and 7th of January. But our team now that is leading the national ministry, and the Leader Impact in Macedonia, they scheduled a meeting on Christmas Eve, December 24th, a huge event. And we have to be there. So I didn't have any say in that decision. And I'm pretty sure if I was at that meeting, I would have said, wait a second, Christmas Eve? That's not going to work for me. but this is Macedonia. We need to adjust. So that's one of the examples that we've seen this couple, Ilya and Anna, just take over and do things the right way, a lot better than me. And would you say us?
Sure.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed. Good for you. It is very hard. But to surround yourself, you talked earlier about just surrounding yourself with the right people and to begin to trust them. And I think that's what Leader Impact is, because it is hard. And you think you're doing great. It's like you need to, let go of that.
Exactly.
I did a podcast and I can't remember. And he said, "Let go, let God, Lisa." I'm like, okay.
That's it.
Thank you for sharing that, because I don't think you're alone. So to say that is very, thank you. All right. So our last question is a little bit about personal development and training. So to you, Toshe, you're now leading across many languages and cultures. What are the challenges there, and what are some unique opportunities? And especially the type and size of impact that you would like to see in your work.
Yeah, it's becoming bigger and bigger. Obviously, when we first started this, it was more a local involvement, and the people that are close to you, you want to influence them and have an impact in their lives. But lately, it's been in the numbers of hundreds of thousands. And when I say that, again, I go back to that very, very important lesson that don't do it alone. Don't do it, even don't make decisions alone, don't walk alone. And so surrounding ourselves together with this team of people that are super amazing. They're from 5 different nations, and they all have experience leading nationally, and some of them even globally. They've been on huge decision-making seats, and they see things that they're very direct. Actually, just today, I received this long email from one of them because he's concerned about an issue that I really don't see. It's kind of like a blind spot for me, but he is really clear that something that we're doing is not going to work. We're organizing this huge event in Berlin, and he wants to say, no, let's not do it. And I was shocked. I was reading that email. I was like, he knows what he's saying. And he's definitely hitting on a blind spot that when I said, let's do the conference in Berlin, I felt good about it. I thought it was a great idea. I thought that it was going to be successful and lots of people will join. And he's even thinking that nobody will be excited about this Berlin meeting. And he's giving the examples, the reasons why. And he went even in the past of how we've done so many of these things and somebody got really excited about them. And then what? And so he's definitely, I have to set up a meeting with him, and he's on a good track of finding out how can we do it better this time and what not to do. And so when it comes to leading people that are from different nations, I, for some reason, have a little bit of advantage in that because Macedonia is in this time of and place where we have to learn a lot of languages. We have to know a lot of cultures. You drive 2 hours north, you're in a different country. 2 hours east, different country. 2 hours west. So we're landlocked, and so when it comes to leading people from different cultures, again, I have a way to be interesting for them. And I'll give an example that we had an event in Albania, and I was giving a speech and I was playing a concert. Albanian is not even close to Macedonian. Macedonian is a Slavic language. Albanian, I think, belongs to the Roman, Italian type of languages. And we have a lot of Albanians in Macedonia. So I've picked it up a long time ago, and I had to remind myself. But again, I memorized these 3 sentences before I started speaking in English. I memorized these 3 sentences in Albanian, And I said, and now I invite my translator to come to the stage and translate for me. And everybody thought that I was going to continue to speak in Albanian, and they just loved it so much. Again, to bridge the barrier between cultures, you just say some things in their language and maybe even learn some phrases along the way to answer or to ask some questions. And you're at a different level of trust. It's super great.
I love that. And you talked, Jesse talked about just continue to be fascinated, continue to ask questions, continue to be part of the learning. I recently was at an event and I sat down with an elder and just started asking him questions, and he engaged. Incredible. Just that I had taken the time and I wasn't embarrassed. Whereas maybe a couple of years ago, I shouldn't really talk about this. But so thank you, because I think more of us need to just ask. We don't need to lead alone. We need to trust. We don't need to walk alone. So I appreciate that. Jesse, as a mother and a leader, what do we need to inspire and grow the next generation of leaders?
Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking back on this question. It just was another little tidbit of finding universals, I think, is also just a helpful practice, a way that to build those bridges. So how can we inspire the next generation? I think that there's definitely the element of us being our real authentic selves and finding and discovering, going that road of finding our unique contribution, and living abundantly, living it out fully, stretching ourselves, growing, taking next steps. I think that we honor those coming behind us when we live that way. Also, the same type of themes of spending time with them, being invested. I mean, intentionally invested in them, not just sharing our knowledge, but coming alongside, celebrating the wins, acknowledging the losses or failures, let's get back up and going together as much as we can. I mean, when I look at the people who have inspired me, I think I've been more touched not by their credentials or their list of achievements, but by the interest that they've taken in me. And I have repeated that phrase so many times. Thank you for taking an interest in me. It just means so. It just means so much. So I think that's one way. And then I have my a personal practice of reading aloud to my kids. So I just think stories are such a way that we can expose, whether it's, whatever form, if it's visual form or if it's in written form, just to heroic stories and tales of people who've persevered and overcome. And I think any kind of exposure like that is timeless and will serve generations to come. So I have lots of favorites that I've shared with our kids that I think hopefully have done just that, preparing them for the trials and the joys and the things that they will need to face in their journey.
Yeah. I love that, when you look at a mentor, you look at someone, it's not always the credentials. It's the time they took to share with you. And I love the sharing of the stories, because I don't think that's just a children thing. I think as adults, we can share stories of great people we've met and the storytelling, right? It's so impactful. So we just take it to the coffee shop.
It's very
right
for any space.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you one final question. I know I said I was done, but I got to ask you. We always talk about legacy on our podcast. So as leaders, to both of you, if you have one answer or both, but what do you hope your faith legacy to be when you leave this world?
Yeah. It's interesting that you put that faith word there. So I would admit that I've been on this journey for quite a long time now, and just asking God to each year give me 3 disciples that I can focus on. And so in the past, it has been sporadic. Some years have been 2 or 3. Some years it's been more. But keeping in touch with so many of those people and seeing that list grow and never stop growing. And again, I have so many people that have come and thanked me for introducing someone to Jesus, and then they've introduced someone else to Jesus. It's the best response that you can have, or best call that you can have, or best thank you from someone. And I want to keep living that way.
Yeah, because your 3 grows exponentially, right? Your 3 tells 3 tells 3. Yeah. And Jesse, faith, legacy when you leave.
Opportunity to answer this. So I've always kind of considered that I've been given a gift of kind of a childlike faith. Maybe that's why God granted us so many children. But when I think of my legacy, I think of a kind of an atmosphere that hopefully will be passed down through the generations of just approaching it as an adventure, seeing it as something contagious, really, that is to be shared and passed on, as Toshe was saying. And, we hope that our children walk in this legacy, and we just consider it a tremendous privilege to share these values with them as we raise them. But I would just finish with noting, when you go through your life, you think about where to invest your time and your talents and your energies and all that is precious to you. And we have really, really bought into the idea of movement building and being a part of something that is just so much bigger than us, that we can only accomplish it when we are shouldering up, when we are coming alongside many, many others. And so I hope that the legacy that we are a part of, the story of Leader Impact, will really be a powerful one for generations to come across the whole entire globe, especially here in Europe, where we're focused, that there will be transformed lives of leaders who lean so intentionally and with support of one another into impact that just faces of nations and cities and are positively changed. So we've definitely intentionally aligned with a vision that's just so far beyond what we can accomplish alone. So.
Well, we are at Leader Impact about building the movement. So I thank you both just for sharing. And I love that you each year you choose 3, and sometimes it's 2, but I want more, but it's like, if I could change one life, or if I could talk to one person, one person may talk to another, it, as I said, it grows. So thank you for sharing that it doesn't have to be a whole church. It can be a person, just start somewhere. So I want to thank you both. I have written so many notes. I'm going to follow up. It's so good to speak to leaders outside of Canada. So I thank you for taking your time. Now, if anyone wants to reach out, find out more about you, find out about Leader Impact in Macedonia, is there a way that they can find you?
I think the best way is the leaderimpact.com website. We've updated it and upgraded it, and so you can go in there and find all of us, find all our regions. Actually, everything is available for someone that wants to start Leader Impact. They can do it immediately by clicking some of those "I'm in" buttons.
Okay, I'm in. All right.
I'm in.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you.
Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us. If you're part of Leader Impact, you can always discuss or share this podcast with your group. And if you're not yet part of Leader Impact and would like to find out more and grow your leadership, find our podcast page on our website at leaderimpact.ca and check out our free leadership assessment. You can also check out groups available in Canada at leaderimpact.ca, or if you're listening from Macedonia or anywhere else in the world, check out leaderimpact.com or get in touch with us by email. info@leaderimpact.ca, and we will connect you. And if you like this podcast, please leave us a comment, give us a rating or review. This will help other global leaders find our podcast. Thank you for engaging with us. And remember, impact starts with you.